Okay, guys. Welcome to the Victory Show. This is the free show. Did y'all like the dramatic effect, like trying to come and sit down? I think my focus was messed up. So, um, first, I would like to say thank y'all for tuning in. All you Blazer sickos out there coming in, check out the show. We try to be a source of education, a source of correct information, and just pure entertainment, trying to fill in that void, for G6 schools, UAB, it can be kind of hard getting the information that you need. So thank you for tuning in. Shout out to my partners, John, Duncan, and Jimmy, Marion. I always like to start out, everybody know about John's situation, but if you didn't know John, just had a random brain tumor, had a couple surgeries. He's getting his speech back better every day. Love my brother. He's been fighting. He's getting back on track. Um, and he's improving every day. So continue your fight, John. Continue to improve. A whole Blazer Nation in the outside G6 community. Let's just say the NCAA college football community is behind you. Um, so keep on doing your thing. Shout out to my dog Jimmy. Um, Wait, before I get to Jimmy, I almost forgot. Sorry, Jimmy, I got to put you on pause real quick. Sponsor, we got to do the sponsor read. And that'll be, y'all know with us, it's Cahaba Brewing Company. Shout out to them. So when you go check them out, go check out the Blood Orange. It's seasonal. It's a seasonal beer that they have down there. The flavor is what it says, orange, blood orange. I've had it. It's wonderful. I also like to go in the tap room. I like to get me a little drinky drink. I get the Cahaba berry. It's like a lemonade, raspberry type of drink. I believe it's mixed with some rum. And I go check that out if you like that. If you like spirits, if you like spirit bottles that you can pick up, they have anything from gin, vodka, rum, bourbon spirits that you can purchase inside the tap room. You can go hang out, bring your family. It's a chill. You can bring your dog, right? You can watch games. They have different events that go on there, and they have a great food truck. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the food truck. The food truck is wonderful. So bring you some extra cash to get some food. Maybe purchase a spirit. Maybe purchase some merch. Right. This is a great place to be. Great environment. So shout out to Cobb Brewing Company. Go check that out if you're in town. But back to back to the business at hand here. Uh, I was talking about Jimmy. And shout out to Jimmy, man. I love Jimmy, right? Because Jimmy, if you don't know, we have a Patreon. We do have a Patreon that we have, and Jimmy drops information and jewels. He drops podcasts, solo podcasts on the Patreon all the time, right? So we're kind of like right now we're kind of like dividing and conquering, doing what we need to do, because John is down. John handles so much, right? When it comes to editing, just production, period, or even information on our social media websites. John is the originator, creator of this, but now it's our turn, and we're trying to hold him down. So, but Jimmy has been going crazy on that Patreon, right? And he's just dropping information left and right, podcasts. So it's only $5 a month, cheaper than coffee. It's cheaper than coffee now. $5 a month be able to listen to those Patreon podcasts. I think it's worth it. And then it's $10 a month to join the Patreon Blazer Victory Pod VIP chat. The chat is always popping. I like, you go to the chat is where we like to drop little sourced information, right? We have a community of people in there, our loyals. Y'all know who y'all are. We talk to y'all all the time. But they exchange information. But we also drop little nuggets, probably some stuff that we probably shouldn't say in public. But you can kind of, it's a safe space. What I do love about the chat is we keep it there. We don't let it get out. So please, $5 a month for the Patreon, but $10 a month. $10 a month for the chat and the Patreon, right? For the Blaze of Victory Pod VIP. But on that same note, Jimmy dropped one yesterday. I don't know if you guys got it or have been able to listen to it. It was wonderful. I saw a lot of good reactions to it from fans, but it's titled "More Questions Than Answers," right? And he mentions everything in there from investments, air quotes on the investments because we don't know what that is, from staff changes to recruiting strategy, right? Just listen to it. Like every time Jimmy talks, it's very thought provoking. So it inspires a lot for me in what I want to talk about, right? So with that being said, I figured that I can start from a more micro. I'm gonna get more specific as time goes, and I'll drop more of these until we're able to get back on the regular schedule. But I'm gonna get more specific to UAB. But I'm gonna start more macro, right? And with that being said, I know one big thing that we talk about in this recruiting cycle, in the transfer portal, we talk about like how many players we're losing. But I want fans to know, especially Blazer fans, that we can be so focused on our team we don't look at what's going on around us. And it's a lot going on around us, right? So let me help y'all. Let's see. JMU, they just went to the college football playoffs. We talking about James Madison, great team. We know that Signetti coached there before he went to Indiana. Indiana's having the success that they're having. And went to the playoffs, played Oregon, got smacked, but hey, had a great season. Let's see what's returning on JMU's starting offense. QB, portal. Running back, portal. Wide receiver graduated. They got one wide receiver still on the team. Other receiver graduated. Tight end, portal. Left tackle, portal. Left guard, still on team. Center graduated. Right guard, portal. Right tackle graduated. And I think there's an updated list. Let me see if I can find this updated list to this real quick, because I think it's important to understand what we're talking about here. Oh, yeah. All 11 are gone. So everybody that I said that was still on team from that team, right guard, receiver. So now it's QB, running back, receiver, tight end, left tackle, left guard, right guard, portal. The rest of them are graduated, and they had some backups to go. Tulane is going through that same thing. From what I know, Tulane has about 1, 2, 3. They got about 5 graduates on their starting offense. But then they had about 4 portal entries on their starting offense. And if you looked at North Texas, one thing I find is funny is like how the G6 is just so, can't compete. P4, this and this, blah, 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 right? But every cycle that we're going through, every cycle that you have in this transfer portal, a lot of the top transfer options, just like in basketball, we saw this in basketball with Yax, by the way. He was the number 1 transfer portal by a mile. It wasn't even close. Yax for UAB, if you're not familiar. But Drew Mestmaker and Caleb Hawkins. Drew Mestmaker is the quarterback. He's the number 3 transfer portal overall guy. Caleb Hawkins is number 4, both from North Texas. Number 5 is Byron Brown, quarterback from Central Florida, right? So, mm, yeah, G6, we got some ballers that we just can't keep. It's just hard. Everybody's getting poached. I wonder if I can. Let me try to do this. Let's say UAB starting offense. I'm gonna try to do this off the top of my head. Quarterback Ryder Burton. I believe he is back for now. Running back Solomon Beebe, Javon Jackson, Isaiah Jacobs. BB's in the portal. The other two are graduating. Shout out to Amari Brundage. He'll be coming back. He walked on to the team, but he's shout out to him because at least what he says on X is just very refreshing to hear as far as his loyalty to the team, and we appreciate that, man. It's just how he plans on working. He just seems like he focuses on the work, and we appreciate it. Like just some air of loyalty. So I really hope his words, his work ethic, and his talent matches, and I hope he's able to get a shot just based off of what we see on the internet can be different in real life. And I have no reason to doubt the young man. What I'm saying is I cheer that his words are exactly what he's getting because, man, there's no loyalty in college football anymore. But anyway, when we signed a true freshman running back, I'm gonna get more specific into y'all. Give me time. I'm gonna get more specific into like positional recruiting strategy, positional what we signed. So like, I'm gonna stay focused, but I'm gonna be very micro focused on our team and what the outcomes look like. All right. Um, let's see. Wide receiver 1, Iverson Hooks portal. Wide receiver 2, Corey Milliner, who was missed half of the year anyway, portal. Wide receiver 3, Brandon Hawkins graduated. Left tackle, Brandon Snay, portal. I can't think off the top of my head who was our left guard. Jesus. Center, Adam Lepowski, he's back. A-Train had a very good year. Hope he stays. Um, why I can't think of our guards right now? I am going blank. But I do know right tackle was um, Logan Moore, right tackle Logan Moore, and he entered the portal. Who was our left guard and right guard, y'all? Why can't I think? Every time I think about left guard, I think about Delano Townsend and how much that still hurt. I have a crying baby in the background. Tight end, Elijah Lag, J.C. Sylvie, portal. We got a lot of people in the portal. We got a lot of people in the portal, so it is what it is. And we have some backups. I can do defense, but we're gonna get into that. I just figured that'd be a nice exercise to do right here on the spot. Um, so I just wanted to just name out how this isn't unique to UAB, right? Um, Sometimes I wonder like how did we even get here in the first place? I do think that's at fault of the NCAA too. Um, I believe that in the beginning, if y'all remember, like the NCAA had a control, they had a stronghold on this man. Um, you couldn't get a tattoo, you couldn't get a free meal, you couldn't get anything, and the NCAA was raking in money. Like as a player, you couldn't get anything extra for you. Imagine how much in this documentary, and Johnny Manziel still got his money illegally, but imagine how much money how much money a player like Johnny Manziel would have made. A Cam Newton, all these type of guys that it was so illegal, but they deserved to get paid for their name, image, and likeness because they were superstars. It was so many Derrick Henry, so many superstars. Marcus Mariota, back in the time, man. Thinking about West Virginia when you had Steve Slayton and all those type of guys, man. Those guys deserve to make money, right? Um, But the pendulum has swung because the NCAA was so iron fist on they did not want to negotiate and give in with players at all. You fast forward to you mix it with the transfer portal, and then you had the transfer portal. I was listening to a podcast where Urban Meyer was talking about this and how, if you did transfer back in the day, you had to sit out a year, and people forget about this little detail. You had to get released by the coach. The coach had to sign off on this. To me, that was too much power to coaches, if you ask me. But the coach had to sign off on their releases so many times. You couldn't even transfer to certain schools. There was there was so many rules to it, right? And on top of having to sit a year, and then if you was a graduate, you could transfer and be eligible immediately. But I see why they had that rule. Not the coaches signing off on it, but you mix that in with NIL and how the dam has broke on that because they didn't want to collective bargain that. They didn't want to give seed any power. I felt like it was greedy. It was greed. It was greed from institutions, from coaches. Coaches was getting paid. Now, I feel like I do need to bring up that people forget that coaches go through the ringer. When you first start coaching, you all the GAing and you getting paid little to nothing. You moving your family around. It's tough, y'all. So a lot of times we try to compare, coaches and players, and a lot of times what's been happening lately is, yes, coaches can move around, they doing all of this, and it's not fair to a lot of the players. I agree how coaches getting up and leave and they getting paid record breaking money and all of this. At the same time, I'm pretty sure coaches on our staff can tell you, man, these dudes, I don't know what y'all know about GAs and how much they get paid and what you gotta like what you gotta do, and hope you latch on to the right people to just get on in coaching and hopefully move up their career ladder. But it's not for the weak. Ask any coach's wife out there. Ask them. It's tough. But I just wanted to make sure I throw that caveat out there. But anyway, that dam has broken now to where uh everybody's going everywhere, and it's just everybody's doing it for a bigger bag, you know. And it's gonna hurt G6s the most. I just want to go through that timeline of like, dang, it was because of institutional greed. To me, is how we got here in the first place, right? Um, and the fans are always left holding the bag. It's always, how much more can you give? Can you buy this merch? Can you buy these seasonal tickets? We need to give, donate, give, donate, give, donate. No. So at some point, enough is enough. We need institutions to step up, especially at UAB, and we'll get to that. And we need some enforcement. We need some rules. We need something because this isn't feasible for us to keep going. But so there's a good a small. I feel like this should be his own podcast, but kind of quick how we got here. I think a big case on this that's going on now that can kind of determine where we're going um, is former Georgia defensive end Damon Wilson, the second, I believe. Um, so what ended up happening is, I can read it, but basically, before I start reading off, Damon Wilson was a five-star defensive end. He signed with Georgia out of high school. I believe his second year with the team. Um, he did get some playing time, had some stats. He decided to enter the transfer portal after signing an NIL, a brand new NIL deal with Georgia, right? Georgia didn't like that. You had some language in the contract, and we talk about liquidated damages. So they sued him. He ended up signing with Missouri, of course, getting another NIL deal with Missouri. Um, Georgia didn't like this, so they said, "Hey, you signed a contract. We need our money. $390,000 for liquidated damages for you know for the language that's in the contract. You signed this. and then we paid you $30,000 right after you signed. That was the money. Like 4 days after he signed, he got a payment of $30,000. Um, I got an article pulled up here. He right now where we at in that he countersued Georgia. You know, Wilson insists his NIL deal wasn't a contract and thus isn't enforceable, and that UGA falsely told other schools that he had to pay a $1.2 million buyout to transfer. So I was listening to a podcast on this as well, and they were saying they was hearing like some Big Ten schools wanted to sign him. Of course, that bag would have been bigger, but they seen that I saw that he shied away. He ended up going to Missouri, but those schools shied away from signing him. People didn't know exactly what was going on, but I think this is what was going on. They didn't want anything to do with the messiness of what could happen. They didn't know. Nobody really knows. This is the wild, wild west out here, right? Nobody really knows. So there's this whole case on this Sportico article. UGA Wilson signed a 13-month, $500,000 NIL deal. Let's see. 4 days after the agreement, Wilson was paid $30,000. UGA contends that Wilson breached his NIL deal by entering the transfer portal, and the deal contains $390,000 liquidated damages provision. Wilson argues he only signed a term sheet that contained a non-binding list of key terms that would be used to create a legally binding document. It's a lot in here. Like, this is all the legal jargon. This is actually pretty cool. But man, I recommend this Sportico article about Damon Wilson II. And I urge you guys to go check this out, because I would probably bore you reading all of this. Much of Wilson's complaint rebukes the liquidated damages provision. Wilson claims UGA weaponized this provision by falsely representing to coaches of at least 3 other schools. Wilson actively discussed potentially transferring, that he would be liable for a $1.2 million buyout. He attacks the structure of the liquidated damages provision. His lawyer says Damon never had a contract with them. I don't see how Georgia thinks intimidation and litigation will help their recruiting efforts. Maybe players could bring lawyers with them to practice. What did he sign then is my whole thing. It's like, what are you signing? You should know that jargon. You was old enough. So I guess now they're trying to see like what's enforceable. All this to say how this relates to UAB. This is going to be huge for UAB in G6. Just football, period. Like just college football, because a lot of times how things are structured in America, when it's hard to just like come up with the answers yourself, you go through courts and you go through examples and you let the courts handle it, right? You go through all of these and you use these examples in court and let them deem, well, this is the answer for this. This is in this case, you can bring up the evidence here and you can go back and use a historical piece of evidence or an example to say, and it can help build a structure on how we need to structure this wild, wild west of NIL. So this is very important for us, and I'm just monitoring, seeing how this goes. Shout out to Georgia for being the first school, because that's the big school that can take this on and they can make something happen. So we need to be paying attention to that, because we need liquidated damages. We getting poached every time we develop a player, and I'm gonna dig into that. I'm gonna dig into that more. Let me stop there, because I'm gonna talk about. So y'all keep on continuing to tune in. I'm gonna talk about certain players that we've developed from now and in the past teams, and how they got poached, right? And how that puts us in the hole we don't get anything from it. All these G6 teams don't get anything from it. We need some money at least to pay other players, right? So that's why check out the Jimmy Patreon episode. He talked about recruiting strategy and how why he kind of doubts the high school, like going heavy high school. It sounds good. We want to develop players, but I don't see without any kind of structure from liquidated damages. I don't see how we can in how can we ensure that they'll be here. They're just gonna be semi-productive for half of a year when they're young, and they're in the portal as soon as they are successful. They touch any kind of look at our team now. Players touching any kind of success, they're out of there, right? So, oh well. Um, of course, I just wanna we'll talk about this more too. Jimmy was able to talk about it again. Patreon.com/BVP Blaze of Victory Podcast. $5 a month, $10 VIP chat. He talked about the staff changes that Steve Russ looked like he's no longer the DC. Ryan Lewis Senior no longer cornerbacks coach. T Mitchell no longer Nichols coach, and we still with Mort being the head coach, we still need an OC. Danny Mitchell may be a guy in line. The running backs coach may be in line for that, but we will see. Last thing I wanted to talk about, because we had like 26 minutes, and I'm going to keep it below 30, is investments. We have the investments again, right? Jimmy brought this up too in his from last year. It was like we made this. Oh, when Trent Dilfer was retained, Jimmy was able to state that we made the same kind of jargon, not jargon. We made the same statements of we are making significant investments. Let me just read from when Dilfer was retained. Shout out to Jimmy for this. Let's see. His efforts, which we were all working to achieve. This is our collective. This is from AD Mark Ingram here. Last year when Dilfer was retained in December, AL.com. This is our collective focus, and we have the strong support of our university leadership system office and board of trustees. Our institutional support, our institutional support is among the highest of the public institutions in the American, and we will continue to make additional investments to increase competitiveness. We will make operational and staff changes as well as additional investments. Our problem that we've been having with UAB for the longest is, what does the institutional investments, all of that talk, what are you saying? Because we hear a lot of rumors, we hear a lot of talk about how we are at the bottom of the American, somewhere at the bottom when we talk about player compensation. We are, what are we? Because it's cool to have a nice, pretty structure, and you need the facilities, but in this day and age, you need to pay players. You need to do that. Can we redirect some of them? What are we doing nutrition wise? Like, is that being addressed? I heard that our nutrition program is not the best, and we need that nutrition to be able to develop players and keep them developed during the season as it goes. Like, we really need that. It's very important, especially for linemen that you're trying to develop. But we don't. You see, again, Jimmy brought this up. You see other ADs and you see presidents, they going online, they talking, they are reassuring the fans, they're being transparent, they're talking numbers. This, and this. We need this, right? All right, now we back. I think we had timed out for a little bit. I don't know, but I was talking about the additional investments, and I was saying that the frustration is like nobody knows what those investments are, right? Um, we see a whole new team in basketball. Is that because of NIL? Rev share? We not is that we see we see a lot that's going on, right? And we just don't at you here at UAB, we don't have any kind of idea on what those numbers entail. Are the fans wrong for at least wanting to know where we sit? Because if you say stuff about additional investments, and you said it back when Trent was retained, and you say the same thing when Mort is retained, we don't know what you're talking about. And the way that we operate under this secrecy and transparency is, as fans, we want to know what the institution is doing. And I feel like when you're not being transparent in that light, you're trying to shield yourself from any scrutiny. That's what I feel like. I could be wrong, but and I don't want to know what certain. I want to know what we're doing, and for any example, people can bring up about, well, this school is doing this. It's another example of saying that this school did it this way. That the way that we're saying, you can say, oh, Will, what about this school? They decided not to do it, and they did great, and they didn't go tell numbers. That's good for them. They probably got money. They probably got money. We don't. We need to know where we at, and that way, at least we can know the areas that where we can, and then. But the thing is, I think it's a hesitancy to do that because then we're gonna ask why. And why can't we have more here? Like we're gonna ask more questions. It's gonna demand more. That we're gonna demand more answers, and that nobody really want to deal with that in the administration side. I feel that's what I feel. I feel like it's a cloak of protection, right? To just vaguely say that we're doing it, but my problem is to say that we're doing that, and then I hear that repeated a lot, but no one knows what it means. Additional investments, additional investments. Okay, to what? Because if I give my wife $1, I made additional investments to her financial being. I gave her, but if I told you that, yeah, I made intentional, significant, additional investments into my wife for the week financially, and it's major. I mean, I can be vague. You don't have to know what it means. It happened, right? So, all that to say is hopefully we get more answers and transparency on that. I know I've been going long here. It's been over 30 minutes. I apologize. Hope you guys enjoy. We're going to bring more content to you. Keep praying for John in his fight. I know he has additional hurdles to go, but my guy's a hurdle jumper, So don't he don't want no pity. Don't take no pity on him. He's just strong. Like his wife is super strong. I said John is strong. Yeah, John probably got a little weak. He ain't got to get back in the gym. He said that after when the new year starts, he's gonna be able to get back in the gym. So he gonna don't worry. He probably done lost it a little bit, but we gonna get it back. But all that to say is keep praying for John. John ain't never weak, you know. But just keep praying for him. He's been fighting hard. Speech therapy twice a week. Keep his family uplifted. Keep all of us uplifted if you can. Believe in the power of prayer. Um, Shout out to Jimmy for continually to hold this thing down, especially on the Patreon and the chat. All of valuable information, and I will be coming more here. So thank you guys. Thank y'all for y'all loyalty and just for y'all feedback, right? So we appreciate y'all so much. Y'all don't understand. Y'all never know. So I can't really put it in words. So I don't know is it here or is it down here? Subscribe. I'm guessing it got to be somewhere over there. and continue to tune in, and we'll try our best to deliver news that we feel that is worth it for y'all. So thank you guys.